I got this glued, got a piece behind this piece screwed in from behind. It's about a 3.75 inch, 3.5 inch piece with wood to metal screws too. I still have a lot of securing to do and just initial reinforcement on different areas. Alright, so everybody gets an idea here. There's that center piece. Had to do a little notching just to get that piece and that piece to go up there easily. These are just initial layers before one final roof piece goes up. So there'll be that, one more piece across, and then a second ceiling piece, then two more side walls, left and right, then on bottom. And then I'll fill in the seat areas. Trimmed up the foam. Glue is still settling. It's pretty much dry. Now I added this 1/2 inch MDF piece. It's up there pretty tight with a lot of glue on the underside. The edges are caked. So I'll have to do a piece here, all the way across. And then I'll deal with the sunroof area later. Maybe come up to the edge of the sunroof right here. And it's hard to see in here with this angle of the camera, but propped it up. Hopefully it'll not fall down. Even if it decides to, I think I'll have enough room to slide a piece of birch and foam up there anyway. So should even it out. I'll have to test fit a piece in there. Have to add the light now due to the time of day, and it's pretty enclosed back here. But to give an idea, I sanded back some areas, that area where they're both joined, just to identify any weak areas and reseal them. The angled piece I cut here, it seemed to have secured in pretty good, pretty well. It got a decent amount of screws in there based on the layers I put back there, so it's pretty solid. And I wasn't pleased with the amount of foam I got back there, so I may reapply if possible. Currently, here's where we stand. I had to do quite a bit of sanding and cutting with a reciprocating saw there, but I got this initial piece there glued in, not entirely dry yet. There's quite a bit of gap, so I realized that through human error there's some uneven or non-symmetrical parts to this back wall here, so I had to level it out. And then obviously I've cut this piece, but I'm not sure if I'm going to lop off this 1/4 inch at the edge or leave it like that. I'm undecided at this point. I may leave it, but we'll see. Right, here's a wide view of everything so far. I had to take it to the car wash, and I hope they don't ban me in the future, since they have compressed air and great vacuums. But so everything's drying still, glued in there. So I left the lip because I can always cut it off later. Just trying to seal in things, adding foam where I can, and so I have that notched out. This one not. I'm undetermined exactly how the face will be eventually, but of course I need more wood, and tomorrow I'll explain more in detail on what I'm aiming for. Did a lot more sanding, found some weak areas that I'll fill in later. Added this MDF piece. As I stated, I'll have to add one right here, and then the sunroof is right here, or where it was, and then continue sanding, decide how to fill that in. The third MDF piece across right there, and there's the sunroof, or where it was. I'll have to decide how big of a roof piece to use, and it'll take 2 pieces to fill in this area. I have some more sheets of wood to eventually get to the roof here. So what I'm thinking about planning to do is cutting a piece to slide into this foam area. I'll cut that out, basically hollow out the foam area right there, and maybe have like a 4-inch piece of ply going up the center, depending on how wide I need it to fill in the center. And then when I lay the entire roof length piece in here, I'll only have to foam in the gaps, obviously here along the brace, and then I can secure that one solid roof piece in, which would probably come down a little bit lower than here. I may have to sand that out a little bit, but okay, so now you see what I mean. 3/4 looks like it's more or less a little more than I thought, probably like 6 inches. think it starts to taper down at like 7, but we'll see. There's a look at my foam job back there. A few gaps, maybe I can fill in some of that first before I shove the center piece in to extend up to the sunroof edge here. I may extend it to that lip, and that way I can stack a piece across and then layer the front layer. I'll wait for this other center piece to dry. Filled in a little bit of foam, but I left the center there to fill in when I shove this 6-inch piece of ply, which is probably going to be like 48 to 60 inches long, across the center of the car. Glue that in place. Had to put a lot of glue in the areas where it's going to be setting, but I'll be sanding a lot, filling in, and then the sides fill, sand, bottom, and then I have a lot of the floor to finish before I put in the actual bottom. So I have the pieces cut, but unfortunately I need to buy 1/2-inch MDF so I can cut a large piece for here, and I may just cut one large piece to cover up this whole area and then lay that in, and then this behind it, of course, as a side layer. MDF 12 inches by 45 installed. We'll run another one right here as soon as I have more glue. We're nearing completion with the barrier layer of the roof. A little bit of cleanup on this side to do and that side before I can lay a final roof piece, and that'll be a 3/4 inch, and that'll be the final layer. I may do one more center piece just to layer it out so that I can lay it all the way across, all the way to the back, and angle that properly. Then I'll have to cut another angled piece, clean that up. A lot of cleanup to do before I can lay the bottom. Still quite a bit of work to do, but the other roof piece is in. So that's 3 sections on the center of the roof. Then we'll have to stretch a piece from there to there, filling in the edges, of course, with something. I'll probably put MDF in those little slits. And then this roof piece that'll be on top is going to be the good quality birch. Trying to save that for last. I need to stretch it all the way to the back somehow and not leave gaps. There is like 1/2 inch there. I may have to fill in slightly, but we'll see. I may have to kerf it as well. Then we can clean up down here and lay a bottom piece eventually, once the floors are evened and once I have 2x4 sides. Bit of an update. Get the seatbelt out of the way. So there's 1, 2, 3 layers of 2x4. Not completely sealed in yet, but pretty much against the what is this? The B pillar. So I thought about doing that aluminum triangle, and I decided against that, just to make it simple on me, since I'm using wood mostly all the way. So a lot of cleanup to do. All of this looks pretty messy, but it'll all sand down and be covered over with a face anyway once it's done. So I have to figure out how to run these cables and seal it in at the same time. I'll probably build a wood triangle right there, or some kind of PVC half moon PVC chunk to seal it in somehow. Lots of glue and lots of sanding. Then the driver's side. Okay, driver's side is sealed in on the arm, passenger side sealed in on the arm. Lots of sanding and finishing with the glue areas. Then I gotta lay the layers to match this side. Once that's matched, then I can layer it all the way up to where the bottom will be. And carry on. Fitting a curved roof piece. It's not in there completely straight, but general idea. Floor is gonna need to raise up another 4 inches, it looks like. And then can add 2 sides and a back piece. And the back piece is over there. And then the floor piece. And we can start about much just the floor left. That's the final roof piece in, a curved chunk up to the edge of the wall on both sides. Still a lot of sanding on the edge and glue finalization. Those are 2 2x4s all the way in the back. And there's still a lip right there that I'll decide whether or how about to angle that. I like the angle already, so I may try to just level it off as best as possible. Then I can move forward with the baffle and port. Pretty much just the floor left. That's the final roof piece in, a curved chunk up to the edge of the wall on both sides. Still a lot of sanding on the edge and glue finalization. Those are 2 2x4s all the way in the back. And there's still a lip right there that I'll decide whether or how about to angle that. I like the angle already, so I may try to just level it off as best as possible. Then I can move forward with the baffle and port. When I left off, I was explaining that the floor was the step that I was gonna apply next, adding layers. I've already done that. Quite a few layers. Actually, it took me a while. That's the bottom layer. Everything else, well, the 2 sides I did sand and add pieces to fill in. That still needs a lot of work. The baffles I started cutting with the portholes, and then I have port pieces. The roof, haven't done much there except fill in gaps, and that'll take more time as well to finalize. So that's where I'm at now, in sanding. These are the ports, or the layers of ports. Port pieces, this is just one port. 7.5 inches. This piece I may have to toss. This is what the end port will look like on top. Most of the pieces are cut already to that size. And there's a few I left for the bottom layers so that I can mount them with bolts to the baffle. Okay, pulled over here so I can give an update on what you see here. I'm not going to go into details on a heim joint and this steel bar. You can always Wikipedia or look up heim joint, H-E-I-M, for yourself. So we have some new PRV highs. The doors, I just put them in there to listen to them, to understand how they sound and how they function in my car. We got the powder coated bar, same 218s. Same port, same chamber, same car, just metal bracing on the windshield and this stability bar. Extended the port about 11 inches. That one's permanent. Very difficult to screw in there. Okay, back here with my car and subwoofers. What I started doing is cleaning up some metal. I had to cut some mounting threads, and there were some other standoffs that were for the original sunroof and other components that I ripped out. So you can see some of the primer where I cut and re-primered the metal. But so that was in preparation for my need to add a front port. So this front section here is like 18 inches. No, sorry. Because it kind of slopes, it's about 17 inches at the corner, this fudged up corner here, and then it's 41 inches across. So this is originally supposed to be a 6th order. Obviously it's more like a ported box with a low tuning instead of a 6th order. So what I need to do is start enclosing the top and bottom. And so I started with a 2x4 here that's cut to size. So we're gonna at some point mount this up here, and the problem I'm gonna face is there's gonna be a gap, so I'm gonna have to fill that in. I have to make sure it's level and square, and then secure it up there, and then glue it or whatever, and fill in this gap. And then I'm gonna run two 2x4s. I'll have to cut one of them at an angle here. I brought these subs up really close to the edge. They're like pretty much at the face of the box here. So I'll have only two 2x4s on this side. One up here, because if I put another 2x4 here, I'll run out of space. These subs are about 11 inches-ish, 12 inches depth-wise, so anything more than 15, I'll run out of space trying to fit subs in here in this cramped space. But that's where I'm at right now, trying to enclose in with more or less a front port build here. Here we are so far. It's non-symmetrical. This 2x4 right here is 16 inches long. Oh, that one over there is like 5 7/8, oddly. I need to fill in that gap and decide if I need like a round over and in behind. I'm not sure yet. I may just leave it like that. And I know what you're wondering, the subs are still in there, but these are Chinese Alibaba 18s that I don't really care about, so I'm probably gonna do all this construction with the subs in there because it's more work to pull them out and remount them again. However, I may leave it like this, see how difficult it is to pull the subs out before adding a second 2x4 along this. So the goal would be to make some sort of modular port that mounts to these 2x4s as a face, but I may or may not even get there. We'll see. As we can see, 3 2x4s mounted. Kind of messy. Not as bad as a gap as I thought I would have. Kind of split the wood over there, driving that screw in too far. That one kind of shifted too, but that's the name of the game. No perfection here. So I'll have to go back in, fill in from behind. Alright, here's a quick walkthrough. The paint, at least the primer is in there. Looks pretty decent. Still have the same amp, the tar amps half ohm model. Same highs amp, different lithium. These subs are wired to 1 ohm.